team, even including Fnatic, I'd say.
Without putting a total damper on tonight, they beat Penta 16-1 last night.
Yeah, and
we didn't cover it, thankfully.
And they've been beating pretty much everyone else as well, leading up to the next major.
They are definitely looking the #1 team. Yeah. Obviously, Virtus.pro versus Hellraisers, pretty close performance overall. Oscar played very well in that for Hellraisers, obviously one of the new guys in there. Moving on, though, some cracking matches to end the night. Titan versus Na'Vi. That was a big game, mainly for the fact Titan were doing very well in it, but Na'Vi they had so many big plays in it. Obviously, if you saw Scream's 4K, his 1v5, so close to doing it, Guardian just spoiled the party. But Flamey went and got, I think it was 4 in the pistol, 4 another 4. He just kept going crazy in that match.
Well, this is the thing with Na'Vi. We've always said their train style was very impressive. We saw it very early on. And I can't remember who that was again. I think it might have been TSM not too long ago in the early stage of the Pro League. And their T-side was just flawless to watch, especially when you had Guardian and Flamey finding form. So when those two get working, building together, they're always going to be good. For me, it's not Na'Vi on train that's the thing I need to look towards. It's them on other maps, more of a standard map pool, because they've had some real shocking losses against yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's a problem. But the final match of the night, do not be surprised. Titan actually did beat Envy, and Titan were looking very good. It was obviously the night they beat Fnatic over in Face It as well on that yesterday, so it was a pretty good night for them overall. But they started off, they were 9-1 up over Envy. Envy pulled it back to 9-9. Such a close game. And then somehow Envy lost a 2v5. Like, they got 3 down. I think Keo mowed 3 down in tunnels, top of tunnels and Dust 2. And then they just kind of rushed in, like, oh, let's get the last 2. Oh, wait, Scream's still alive, Smiths is still alive. Suddenly they pick people off. Scream managed to get the bomb over an A site. And then, of course, do what Scream does is find heads. And then they just ran the clock out. They had no defuse kit. Totally surprised us. Fantastic match overall.
Yeah, and to be fair, anytime you lose those kind of 2v5s, it's just communication that's an issue. Yeah. And I just want to see how focused Envy are currently. They've always been a team of hit and miss performances. They've had their kind of run of super form, and I'm waiting to see if that honeymoon period ever does stop. It looked as though they were kind of on a good keel for quite some time, but I'm wondering if maybe that's going to start slowing down. Yeah,
and you just wonder whether Titan are on their own honeymoon period, obviously, with Scream coming in. Yeah, how long that lasts for them. So let's check out the league table, of course, where that leaves us standing. It does mean that, of course, Fnatic and TSM way up the top, miles ahead of everyone else right now, in a completely different league, it seems, to everyone else at the moment on the planet.
Pretty much. They are playing their own very individual league, it seems. So you kind of have to negate them out of the rankings if you want to take it seriously, because if I'm very honest, by the end of this season, I doubt anyone's going to be able to catch up to them. They're almost safe as it is.
Yeah, and that leaves it open, because obviously 4 people from Europe will go through. And suddenly, actually, like we were looking at last season yesterday and talking about the amount of losses that are in there. Now, the cutoff was between 6 and 8 losses. Now, at the moment, you can see on your screen, there's a lot of people already at that. So we're going to see a very different cutoff this year. You've got Na'Vi with 5 losses, Envy with 5 losses. So they're kind of like the favourites to get in there at the moment. But you've got Titan, you've got NIP just creeping below this at 5 and 5.
But you've got to think, though, the one thing that comes to my mind, even though Titan and NIP are close, they're so inconsistent. You'll get days where NIP can beat Fnatic occasionally and TSM.
And they did as well.
Exactly. And then Titan, we saw, had their good day. You saw Scream really finding that form, but they're not consistent as I'd personally like them to be. Whereas you could look at maybe your Na'Vi or Envy, who've not actually played that many matches, already just kind of around 12. They've still got a lot of room to breathe there. So I'd look at consistency over the one-off results, but there are a lot of close teams here.
And then, of course, moving down the bottom half of the table, we do have Virtus.pro down there. Not the greatest for them so far, 4 and 8, which actually puts them in perilous position not qualify. They were in Season 1, of course. But then Penta and Mousebush, you can see them there. We're both going to be in action tonight, 3 and 5 and 3 and 6. So both fighting to stay out of that relegation spot. At the moment, it looks like SK Gaming have cemented themselves at the bottom of the table, 0-11. Don't even know who the hell's playing for them anymore. They've lost that many players.
Yeah,
Hellraisers as well. They were in performance last night. Actually looked much improved. Obviously, a lot of changes going in there.
This is the constant story of Hellraisers, isn't it? Insanely close results, and we always used to look at their rounds won and loss ratio and compare it to others, and they were playing at a caliber well above of where they were placed, but they don't close out the games. It was something we saw throughout the last season, and it seems to be creeping into this one for them as well.
Yeah, so that takes us into tonight's matches. As we did mention, Penta in action twice, Mousesports in action twice. We're going to be starting things off. It's going to be Mousesports versus NIP. That's going to be followed by Mouse versus Virtus.pro. And then, of course, it's going to be Titan and Fnatic in action up against Penta. So, tough old night for Penta, no doubt about it. Some real interesting games to start things off, though.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, on paper, some of Mouse and Penta's results, let's say, aren't that bad on these maps, actually. They're better than their opponents' results, let's say, at least in 2015. So if they're having a good day, if they're playing well, you might actually see a little bit closer games than you'd expect. But then again, this is the problem. You've got NIP, this explosive team. You never know where they're at. You've got Titan in here as well. You could have a day where, sure, actually, Mouse could easily pick up a win on Cobble there. And actually, Inferno, not too bad for Penta.
Does 2 for Mouse, that's pretty
exactly.
good. Exactly,
they have a better ratio than Virtus Pro do. But the problem is that, who are you going to get to see today? Which teams turn up? Is it the consistent form? Is it the team that's up and down? You know, who are we going to see coming out?
Well, we will find out, ladies and gentlemen. Going to some absolute crackers tonight, hopefully. And of course, before we get things underway, we need to go our man, our superior professional. He's in charge of Vulcan. Let's get over to Alex.
Thanks very much, Lee. Superior professional
It's
what you are now.
Very big term.
Hey, mate, you're live this time. You know,
yeah, that's right.
Normally we can just abuse you at the side, but today you are here in person.
Here I go. Yeah, we're doing it live. We're doing it differently this time.
Good luck, buddy.
It's my turn to talk about my Vulcan picks for tonight's games. Of course, this is available on Vulcan.com. Let's go ahead and just jump on into the action then, because as they said already, they made it very clear that we're expecting to see less than ideal situations for the Germans, and so we're probably going to be avoiding them for now. Less so with Penta, more so with Mouse. So let's start with the NIP, because that's going to be our first game. We're going to be seeing NIP up against Mouse, and I wouldn't mind finding myself a good kind of middle-of-the-pack NIP member. Freiburg, here we go, King of Banana. Grab him, and on the other side of things, see if there's someone a bit higher up. I can treat myself to a Forest, I can. So that's 2 of them from NIP, and their opponents. I wouldn't mind a Mouse Sports player, especially someone that's pretty competent in the rating. Next, you can see, look at its season point average 53, so we'll just go ahead and pocket in. That's quite a lot of expensive purchases, so let's go a little further down the list for
I'm just going to say, you do know Fnatic are playing on Cobble tonight against Penta. Just throwing it in there. Might be worthwhile picking some up.
What, some Fnatic members?
Might be.
Yeah, that's true. That could be a bit of a stad patter. A stad patter?
Stad patter. Wow.
Just a little patter. Oh my god.
How much is Olaf?
Brain DDoS. Olaf is almost the same as Forest. Do you think I should swap him out?
I'd swap him out.
All right,
I would
Forest.
suggest that would be. I'm just giving you a hint here.
I appreciate
but you are
that.
the superior professional.
Yeah, well, that's the title you've given me. Let's be quite clear about that. I also want to point out Scream sitting on 132
Ridiculous.
last day points. So I feel like I'd be a bit of a fool
Can you afford
in
that?
his current form. I'm getting a little bit pricey.
He had a good night.
You're right. Let's go down to the bottom of the list.
You fell within
who's
$1 yesterday, so I want to see it closer.
How tight
I want to
make
see it 0.
Do you know
Who's
Pronex
cheap?
could go off on Cobble because
Yeah, it's
a cheap Fnatic member. Let's go for that. Let's grab
Don't forget
Pronex.
the shotgun expert. I know the flush is probably a bit too
JW's no,
expensive.
JW's gonna be
JW's a bit
pricey.
pricey. He's middle.
Yeah.
Actually,
Oh,
That's
not
not
too
bad. Yeah.
can I do it? Where's JW?
Surely
Stuck on
not.
past
Surely
it.
you can't afford him.
2,100. So I could just.
players.
Oh my god.
Let's get some Mouse Sports players. Hang on, we haven't got any VP either. Neo is always
Mouse
quite
Sports
an
is
easy
possible.
one.
They're playing Dust too.
Yeah,
Okay, now,
if they're
final-
cheaper.
What's a Mouse Sports? Can you find me a Mouse Sports? Dennis, maybe?
Scroll down. You got Dennis
I'd
there.
rather not.
What else you got down further down? Where's Chris J? What's he at?
Chris
He's
is going
up
to be
here.
expensive.
Oh, he's not too bad.
1,200. I can't quite do it.
No.
Right.
I could get rid of Next.
You could. Sure.
Next is good.
Next is good though. All right, let's just go for a middle. Why don't I go treat myself to Taz? Look at that.
Treat yourself.
66.
Go on,
66. There we go.
look at the people around him. He's yeah.
Taz is always a pretty easy pickup for me, and I mean, you know what we'll do.
Taz is an easy pickup for you.
Oi,
Yeah,
lucky
he is.
boy.
Just walk into the bars in Poland and he's an easy pickup. No problems there. So that's my team there. That's actually the worst I've done in terms of like being the best bang for my buck. $107 still remaining.
Yeah, you're well out.
I'm well out of that one. Was it $1? I think the closest I've got.
That was last night. That was
very
last
proud
night.
of
That was
myself.
impressive.
Did
that
you
one.
mean to do that, or was it just kind of
It was all
so fluke.
purely accidental?
It wasn't like equations floating around.
I
me
was
and
like,
was
you know,
working it
the
all
like
out.
Rain Man kind of thing going
Beautiful
on.
mind.
Yeah, that was it.
No, so that is it. Once more, I'll read them through. We got a bit of Freiburg, Olaf, Next, Scream, Pronex, JW, Neo, and Taz. That actually sounds like a pretty exciting lineup.
Yeah, that's pretty
I'd
big.
watch those guys play. I'd watch those guys play. So that kind of wraps it up then, folks. If you want to do it, and you can probably do better than me, see if you can get down to that $0 mark. I'd love to see some screenshots sent to me. If you do manage it, you should use our code, though. You need to head over to the Vulcan.com website and use the code ESLPRO. And what that'll give is both a double of your deposit and your Vulcan gold. So worth giving that a chance. And if you can't quite be bothered to type the URL in yourselves, you can click the link in the description if you are that lazy. So do be sure to do that, guys, and I hope you enjoy it. For now, though, I'm going to disappear back off and I'll let you guys talk about the games. Have a good time.
Bye,
Have a good time.
Alex.
Bye.
Thanks for all the
Thanks
help.
for joining us, Alex. So, tonight's match, starting things off, it's going to be NIP versus Mouse. Now, we haven't actually got the IP yet, so we haven't got a game ready and waiting to go, so we're still
But this
waiting.
means people can look at Vulcan longer.
It does.
Or the Score Esports, several avenues of wonderful information available at your fingertips.
Dollar bills.
I'm not even paid for this, Alex is.
Amazing stuff, amazing stuff. So we are going to go to a break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, hopefully the IP will be ready to go. The players, the teams, we're just waiting for them to go. We're ready. They're not. So we'll see you after the break.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters. Delta Tubbs babysitting against it. Oh, it's beautiful. Exists. 2 kills could never be so important. Gonna go for it behind the fountain. Kerrigan's just gonna charge him down. He's gonna miss quite a few pistol shots. Kenny out. He won a kill, and then he gets the second. Kenny punches the round.
Yeah, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are told all 10 people are in the server. So, Ninjas in Pajamas versus Mouse Sports, kicking things off. It's going to be on Cobblestone, so not really a match either team have had fantastic results on overall.
I don't know. Mouse Sports sitting on 16 wins, 11 losses isn't that bad. That's 2015's results.
Better than 50-50, that's for sure.
Yeah, Nips on 7-9. So on paper, Mouse Sports have quite the advantage here, but we've seen in the big matches, Mouse sometimes having issues on this map, especially in the qualifying games. I think we all recall how that one went down when Chris J kind of abstained from picking up the AWP, and it really did cost them. But you know, new day, new times coming through for these guys. And Mouse have been kind of hit and miss with their results, not picking up the best of things, but they have recently beaten Titan, but then lost to CSGO Lounge and Hellraisers. So really up and down for them.
Yeah, yeah. When they're losing to those sort of players, teams you would expect when they're coming up against NIP, although still don't know what shape NIP are going to be in.
NIP lost 16-2 to Hellraisers as well, so it's like, have Hellraisers suddenly found the secret to this map and no others?
Well, I mean, they were playing with a coach yesterday, and it still went 16-11 with the Virtus Pro, so it was not a bad thing overall, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, Cobblestone, obviously it's a map that's been swings and roundabouts. We're going to see Fnatic give us probably a schooling on that later on.
It's always a masterclass,
isn't it? It's a masterclass, yeah.
It's either the cheese masterclass with JW that kicks off around midday, or you can go for the early morning schooling of Olaf with a Tech 9. It's up to you. You can take whichever class you want, but it does certainly give you a real lesson in it.
I do seem to recall the Kraken came out as well
last time. Oh, the Kraken through drop.
Yeah.
That was just peachy. I want to see that again, just for the funsies. But yeah, we are just going to wait for this one to kick off. But I'm excited to see how Mouse play this, because last time, I think it was me and Henry G casting it, we were baffled by the T side coming out from Mouse, because they were really trying to avoid Chris J actually picking up the AWP, which was a massive problem. They were, going all in towards these sides, not causing those rotates that you can kind of pull players left, right, and centre and work for that advantage. But I'm curious now, because which NIP do we get as well? The team that depends on getting 4 auto snipers at some point, or the NIP that can really dig deep and pull off good results.
Yeah, I remember seeing Envy as well have issues. They weren't sure what to do with Kenny S. He kept going over to long, but nobody would play into him, so he was kind of nullified from the match, and that seems to be what a lot of the action's all about. You can see the players just warming up on your screens at the moment. You're well aware of who's in these teams these days. I'll just give you a quick refresh either way. Ninjas in Pajamas, well, you know who they are. It is Alu, Forest, Get Right, Exist, Freiburg. That is still the lineup that stands. Has done for about 6 months now, I would say. They've been together. Meanwhile, Mouse Sports obviously had a few changes. Dennis, Chris J, got beat next, and I'm assuming that's Nico. I'm assuming that's Nico that says Gapiol.
I think it's Nico. I haven't heard otherwise, so not too sure, but we'll see. We'll see. Alright, it does seem as though the team's almost ready, just warming up those last couple of minutes, but yeah. Looking forward to NIP again, as ever, because there's so many rumours around them still, but they've been doing quite well within this season. Not the best performance, still kind of in between Virtus Pro and Titan thus far on the overall kind of rankings at the moment. But some admirable pickups. It's just is this just the kind of end of a story, or will they carry on? Is all up in the air still, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, there we go, it's changed. It says Nico now. Although it says it on the map, not the thing. What's going on here? Oh, okay, must be the coach that's in there, that's why. We've got 6 in. Yes, there we go, I can see now. I can tab now, I finally got into the game. So the coach is in here, Capio the coach, I guess. Yeah. I'm guessing he's going to be sitting there. That makes sense. But hopefully they're going to get underway in a moment. It seems to have... There we go. I was briefly worried it was frozen. But NIP coming into this one, as you mentioned, not the greatest record overall on Cobblestone. It's never been one of their strong maps. And Cobblestone, obviously, once it came in, a lot of people looked at it. Some kind of liked it, some weren't really sure on it. Get Right seemed to say that he thought it was a nice map for the team, but the results really haven't gone their way.
No, and I'm not going to say there's any one particular reason as to why. There's varying reasons against varying opponents, because let's be honest here, the fact is that NIP aren't bad at it, but there's teams that are substantially better. You look at your Fnatics, you look at your TSMs, and a lot more. Even Mouse, I'd say, on paper are substantially better than NIP currently. But then again, that NIP magic as exists picture does show us, and Freiburg's. We've got the magicians out in force today. Forest and Get Right. I think they would say,
Alu's pulling the rabbit out of that. Yep.
So the magic is certainly ready to go. So Capio hopefully will just pop into spec.
Forrest has gone Luke Skywalker on us.
That's good.
Getting into that Star Wars hype. A film that you've never watched.
Nope.
Never seen any of that series. Incredible. maybe come December you'll have them all watched up.
Couldn't care less.
Couldn't care
Honestly, couldn't give a flying rat's ass about it.
I gotta be honest, it was a little overzealous, the hype when that trailer came out. I was like, even I, as a big Star Wars fan, I was like, calm down, people. Calm down. We all know what Jar Jar Binks did to this series. I'm sure
the
it could be
second
made
coming
it
of
worse.
Christ when I looked at Twitter for like 10 minutes.
And then today is Back to the Future Day. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
yes,
surprised
those
Marty
dank memes
McFly
are
didn't walk
everywhere.
into the studio. It was
No,
that
it's-
exciting on a hoverboard, but
I'm just so bored of seeing people trying to get some clickbait retweets on Twitter going, hey guys, look what I've got, a picture of Back to the Future. When are the hoverboards coming? Wait,
it
it's
wouldn't
just
be
like,
so
shut
bad,
up.
but they've had-
We all know, we've literally seen the same picture 40 times now.
but the thing is, they've already had so many people screw up the date over the last years that have all tried to say, oh, this is the date. Oh, wait, no, that was the wrong one.
I've just become cynical and old and don't like looking at Twitter because people are trying to do dank maymays for followers.
It's non-stop.
Makes
The
me
same
real
as
sad.
Reddit has pretty much gone that way as well, sadly.
I haven't checked that much of Reddit recently. I feel kind of dirty not reading it, but you know, I didn't have internet connection on my phone. I was just like going from Wi-Fi spot to Wi-Fi spot in the UK, just living in Costa Coffees. We aren't just waiting for these guys to begin, by the way. The producer said they were ready. He lies to us a lot, and it makes us cry a
Well, I
little.
mean, the match was meant to start 17 minutes ago, so we're just waiting for the play. I don't exactly know what we're waiting to ready up. This
Not
is
sure.
like the longest warm-up session required for an online match, I think.
You know, you can't just make magic happen. It takes time, so Nip just need to, you know,
See
go
what you're
for it.
doing there. Yeah, actually, that's a
Hey.
good point. Can we see who it is?
What?
No, we can't see. Nobody's readied up. Nobody's doing anything.
We're just chilling. We can discuss this map and how beautiful it is, and you know, Nip magic on Hogwarts. Something could happen. Who knows?
We were talking about old Romeo and Juliet yesterday, actually.
The drop room.
The failed name that they do the wrong way around. No, it's not actually the drop room. It's not
Is
the
it
drop
not?
room. Yeah, no. It's actually that balcony there. You
Oh, yeah,
can
no,
see it
I
on your
do
screen,
recall,
just
yes.
to the right there.
I do remember. Who was it who used that?
It's Sponge and
It
Co.
was a sponge light.
Yeah, it's,
But to be fair,
and actually they have Romeo up high and Juliet down low because they messed it up. They're Australian.
And you're
It's
mad at me
backwards.
for not seeing like Star Trek Wars or wherever it was.
And they messed
You
it up
know.
Shakespeare right there.
It's not all that hard. Just watch the
Education
Leonardo
in
version.
Australia is obviously not up to the
They call it
best these
quiche.
days. Quiche. They do
It's
call
essentially
it quiche.
a quiche. It's not good.
And we had the Dak Dak yesterday as
Dak
well.
Dak. I was excited by the Dak Dak. I was trying to wind up Mitch to make sure he said it when I was observing not too long ago.
Not falling for it though.
Did he
He's going to
not?
be casting tomorrow though, isn't he?
True, yeah. Guys at home, let us know your thoughts on Mitch. He is Australian. We can always send him back again. So if you don't like him, let us know.
He's
We
from
can
the
just-
colonies.
Exactly. We can put him back where he started into the cage, but it's fine. Good old Mitch.
Just have this impression of him growing up in a cage now.
That's how it works out there, right? I don't know. But yeah, still waiting. Be really cool if the admins, maybe let
Spiders
us know.
skittering past.
Stop it. Actually, someone wanted me to go on holiday to Australia recently, and I can't think of anything
You're
worse.
so fearful of spiders.
Exactly. Like I was like, yeah, no, I really want to go. I'm like, I don't care.
For once, it'd actually be spiders are dangerous.
Exactly.
Instead of just the little house
like,
spiders.
Why would you go to a holiday where things can kill you? It just doesn't
Especially
appeal
that,
to me.
that one that
Stop it! No,
bird one, whatever it is called, the wolf spider?
They're knifing now. Let's
it's
ignore
enormous.
that. Stop it!
Even that scares me. Like when something can run faster than I can.
Stop it!
I'm in
A lot of things can run faster than both of us. Let's be honest. Like my 40 a day, apparently.
Physical fitness, I'll have you know.
When was that?
Oh, it's been a few years.
As I say this,
Oh,
coughing.
yeah, they look
Hey,
beautiful.
I've got bronchitis.
Healthy.
I am unwell. All right. Anyway, we are starting this one up. NIP did get the knife. It looks as though they will be starting out on the CT side. After all the conversation Get Right has about starting on the T and working their way back in, they don't care.
I guess
They
the
go
rest of his
CT.
team don't feel the same.
Yeah, Get Right is like, I'll start T, you guys start on CT, but no. We're going to get this one kicking off very, very soon. And yeah, looking forward to seeing where Nico takes that Molly.
Molly, yeah. It's got to
Not
be
sure.
drop, you'd assume. Where's he
Unless they've
going?
got like an angle to be able to put it onto one of the sides, who knows? Anyway.
Well, the bomb is heading over towards Long A, and Get Right is going to be there, ready and waiting. Exist may well have just got a little glimpse on them as well. Yes, it is. Get Right will find Dennis down long, and that's going to stop Chris J. Chris J, the bomb carrier. Keep your eyes on him. See if he makes a move. Meanwhile, this is all happening. Nico and Nex are trying to be a big distracting force, but NIP are stacked heavily towards A because Exist and Get Right got that information early.
Yeah, but there's still time here. Chris J can just slow walk it in. There's no real rush. The only problem is that Forest and Exist are lined up really well to support each other here. And Chris J... not quite there into the crosshairs. They are waiting just around that corner.
around the wall,
and now
yeah.
Nex and Nico are executing. They're going to do a wrap towards A, but they don't realize that actually Forest and Exist are already watching. But Alu does go down. This is a nice play from Mouse. Really well executed thus far, but let's see if they can keep it up. Nico's going to find Exist. 2 players now pouring in from that lower side, and brilliant stuff from Mouse. 4 players standing. Freiburg last man alive, and he's just going to get rushed down surely here. Does find Nex though, so at least getting some money in the bank.
Yeah, but he's in a 3-on-1. Very tricky position now as he gets into Romeo and Juliet, and he's dropped straight down. Nico takes him out there. Beautiful wrap, like you said, considering Get Right took down, it was Nex so early on, Dennis, sorry, so early on. Great little wrap up. The fact they're 2 and 2, both coming that way. So Molly used to basically keep them away from drop.
Yeah, and we've seen drop being a consistent rotate point. If you get control of that, it opens up the entire map off the back, and I think most people know that by now, but it's always good to see and see it being utilized so well. And this is what I love watching with Mouse Sports, especially when God B's at the helm. You do get these lovely choreographed pieces coming out, and a 4-1 split coming through. Nico is someone that I got used to seeing play in this sort of role constantly. Even if the team is going fully towards A, he will always look towards B, play through drop, play through balcony. But there's the counter boost coming out, Get Right, and I think that's Freiburg underneath him. That Mag 7 could do some damage here.
Yeah, it could do work. Nico's the only one there. He's about to pop around the corner and quickly checks for that little peeking Get Right. And we'll take his head off. The rest of the 4 members of Mouse all stacked over at 8. Just on the ramp at the moment. Dennis is starting to push on long.
Yeah, and they could either try and force a rotate or just commit to this. They've already taken one down, which means, you know, at any odds, pretty much NIP are going to be outnumbered on these sites. And you can see Nico now kind of rejoining the pack. It looks as though they're going to go for the commit towards A here. 50 seconds remaining. Alu and Forest sitting quite far back. Freiburg doesn't want to leave his post just yet, but sooner rather than later, he will have to come through. But Mouse really taking their time, not rushing this.
40 seconds on the clock. Alu's got himself tucked in on site. Forest just around that APC. The rest of Mouse, though, ready to burst in. Now, still got a smoke available. That's going to get Freiburg and Exist, cut them off at double doors. I would assume as Mouse make their way into sight.
And this is why they're cautious. They have 5 rifles, basically, well, 4 in a UMP, but Alu's going to find Gold B, but the rifles still remain. Freiburg comes in with the double, and that is really pushing Mouse Sports here. But Exist has got armor, he's got the CZ, but he hasn't got a gun, and he doesn't have his life. Next will take him down, but that was a very expensive round for Mouse. They lost out on the UMP, which I believe was on Gold B there, but Chris J and Nico both losing out on their rifles. Far from ideal, but Nip as well, you know, feeling a little bit of the pinch after their purchases with that Mag 7, with the head armor as well. So quite an expensive round for both sides, but Mouse still pick it up in the end.
Pretty much a full-on save, just the singular P250 picked up by Forest. Everybody else on a full, clean eco. Tell a lie, you can see Freiburg just picked up a Deagle just to the end there, just to catch me off guard.
He's got to. The Deagles are back. Well, I don't know. The Deagle Blaze is back.
We
It's
saw
always
a great
Blaze
Deagle
hit.
round yesterday, actually. There was some pretty good Deagle
I don't
rounds.
think you will ever
I saw the Nico one.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever beat Nico's. And we are going to see the pretty much a 5-man stack. Freiburg kind of being the jump off. So Nico probably will do really well here. Generally he does. Forrest does go down. He's already aware that maybe Get Right was boosting again, keeping these things in mind. But Freiburg is going to be the lone ranger here. Let's see if that Blaze can set a fire to this round, because Nico's just doing cleanup duties towards that B site.
They're trying to rush him now. They're going to try and push him up. Exist is ready to pop out, but Nico one tap in. Oh, he's going to be ready for it. And that's going to be the 4th if he can get on Get Right in a moment. It's the sole man left. A site's completely carved open. And Get Right realizes it. He's going to try and just consolidate, hold on to that pistol. But Dennis is about to pop through the window. And Get Right's going to find him. He gets himself a weapon. Galil, just hopping straight through. A little too quick. Got be ready and waiting for him.
Yeah, him picking up the rifle, then there was, you know, a little bit more of a silver lining. Maybe he could have worked with that, but still. 3-0 now. Mouse Sports kind of doing what they intended to. A lot of mollies being purchased into this, so looking to see where they put those to place. But kind of recapping how these rounds have gone down was the early investment to rifles. It mainly stood out to me as Mouse Sports were not messing around on that 2nd to 3rd after picking up the initial after that 3-2 split. 2 through drop, of course, and 3 through A. But still, caution to begin with here. Got beat. Taking a little bit of time.
Tried and tested tactic working well here. Just sending Nico on his own over to B. Forrest is trying to creep forward a little on long 8, but smoked off. Alu's alongside him. A lot of gunfire coming out from Chris J and Co over on the ramp at A, and Get Right You can see here, looking like it may be a change of pace for Mouse Sports. This might well be a B execute. Nexus come over to join Nico. Chris J's already drifting this way as well, so we may have a change of direction. Dennis is going to be the first to find Forest.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how these trades go right now. Forest has found Dennis, but it's not the end of the world. There's still Christian and God B there. Nex and Nico haven't really found much luck over towards B. But still, a lot of time on the board, 45 seconds. But Nip reading this well. I like the double stack on long then. It allowed them some map control. But while I say this, every player is heading over towards that B site. 3 players have remained there from NIP. Get Right waiting just by the side of Drop Exist, boosted up towards that kind of flower bed. It's Freiburg playing towards the back of Statue. But still, Mouse have a lot of utility. Look at those 2 mollies still remaining, a lot of flashes. They can work this out. Next though, going to be heading in with Nico down towards Drop. We're going to see Godby and Chris J splitting this one up. This is going to be a tough battle. They're going to be very, very close by the time they get this done. 14 seconds left. They have to make the play now.
Get Right's actually lingered in the smoke as well in that drop room. He hasn't been found yet. Exist does get himself one and Nico. Bomb plant from Chris J coming down. A lot of gunfire, but not finding his target. Chris J still alive in there, just lurking around the smoke, but Exist will cut him down. And NIP clear sight so easily. Sneaky little play from Get Right there. They flashed twice and just walked straight past him. Didn't see him in the smoke.
The more imperative thing in my eyes was the line of smoke that Mouse Sports put down almost worked against them in that one. They were allowed to plant because of the position Chris J was planting in. I think it was, oh God, I'm not too sure. I think it was Chris J doing the plant work at the end there. He put it down just on the kind of edge of the statue, so he was above the spam, but then on the retake, no one was able to get the challenges towards Nip, so there's still like 3 players waiting on that B site, 4 by the time I think Forest came over, or wherever it was. So by that time, Mouse Sports were already at a disadvantage, so Nip playing well into this gun round.
So 3-man stack from Mouse this time over towards the B site. Still yet to successfully hit that site. Been every time where it works. Nico boosting up Chris J there, just trying to get a little glimpse over the smoke, see if he can see anyone on platform, but NIP sitting preferably back or in and around Fountain. Exists still in that boost position on B site and Get Right in drop room. So very much a stalemate between these two teams as they try to poise for position. NIP, they haven't once really challenged out on that platform either. They preferred to sit fairly passive, fairly deep on the defense and B side.
Well, to be fair, I don't think anyone particularly wants to challenge Nico.
Yeah.
This guy is monstrous, and then you throw in Chris J into that, you've got a lot of power waiting there, and so far it's been working. Molly's still in the hands of Get Right here, going to buy a good bit of time. Exist also has one as well, but already seeing that Godby utilised his to clear out that stairwell over by A, but next to be held back. And this slow play coming through is going to be quite difficult, but NIP aren't fully aware. They're going to hear these footsteps, so these flashes are slowing them down. Now Alu's coming over. We've got 4 players ready and waiting on B. This is going to be a tough one for Mouse. They're going to have to get some real impact play coming out very soon. Chris J looking for the opener.
Get Right and Exist in the right place. Exist is going to line them up. Does manage to get himself one down before he gets dropped, but Get Right was a movable object there, and they gun them down on the platform, just losing the one man. And that's a good round. That's going to force Mouse Sports into a save, or an eco of some variety at least.
Yeah, and I kind of hope we see what they did with their initial pistol with the 3-2 split, possibly with the Tech 9s in play. But that aside, they kind of lost any sort of danger in that round by the time they finally put the play into practice. They weren't forcing Nip to leave players on sites. They were taking even fights basically on the T side, which you almost don't want to do. You can easily pull a player across here or there, but they just got caught out. So now looking at this, it doesn't seem all that similar to the first round. Nico's just going for a look with the Deagle, trying to catch someone off ahead of the smoke, as it will be Freiburg waiting on the other side and just not having much luck there. Exist going to be racking up the bank. Yeah,
get that SMG. Starting to make it work here. Now Dennis has switched his position, but Alu has found himself that one on God beat. NIP rotate round. 3 people in the right place at the right time here. Mouse trying to creep on through long. But Forest, Get Right and Alu are awaiting. Alu's caught eyes on one. Doesn't manage to land the shot, but Get Right will.
43 seconds left, and the drop play is going to come in right about now. Freiburg going to be the point man there. Great double from Freiburg, taking down Nex and God B, and it's just secure.